Hello, and welcome to the Trans Agenda, a podcast by Trans Clinique. I'm your host, Nico, and I'm a trans man, and my pronouns are he and they. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll be right here talking about the Trans Agenda. In this podcast, we'll delve into the unique challenges and experiences of trans folks, highlighting the voices of those who have lived it themselves. We'll explore issues such as navigating medical and legal systems, finding acceptance within family and community, and combating discrimination and violence. Our guests will share their personal stories and expertise, providing valuable insights and perspectives on this often misunderstood aspect of the human experience. Join us as we strive to educate, inform, and advocate for trans rights and visibility. Hello, and welcome to the Trans Agenda. My name is Nico.
Oh, my name's Effemy.
Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us your name, your pronouns, and what you do for work and how you identify?
Yeah, so my name is Effemy. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a Cancer. I do graphic design for the most part. I also do a little bit. I've been dabbling into like music a little bit now.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So I've just been trying different things, but I mostly do my background is in graphic design and branding, marketing, advertising. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Effemy actually does most of my graphics as well, so you've probably seen her work before if you watch the podcast. So that's great. And if you could tell us a little bit about like your story. How did you come out?
Do you want the PG version or do you want... No, I'm just kidding.
Let's go all in. I'm ready.
Oh my God. No, wait. I meant to say, well, there's like, there's like the sad version, and then there's the more like, cleaned up version.
Mm-hmm. Whatever you're feeling today. We're here for both.
Okay. Well, how did I come out? I mean, I feel like I haven't really been out for that long. I came out in 2019, so like kind of like pre-pandemic, or 2018, and then I started HRT in 2019, and that process was really odd. I felt like the floor just kind of like crumbled beneath me, and but it was a lot of like just identifying myself and just shedding away like a lot of the trauma that I've experienced in the past, which I don't really want to get into. Sorry.
Nice.
And since then, I feel like I've just been getting to know myself, and that's the best way that I can describe it. It's just like getting to know myself and just letting myself be.
Who you are.
Yeah.
That's great. And, I always talk about this, like, us as trans people, we're not just our stories of being trans, right? Like,
right.
We're so many other things.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, like, how did you get into art? How did you get into graphic design?
Okay, so I'm going to go all the way back to first grade.
Love it.
Mr. Vallejos. I don't know if he'll ever see this. I think he told us all to, like, draw some trees and stuff. And for whatever reason, he, like, looked at my tree, and he's just like, wow, you're going to be a great artist one day. And I was like, yeah.
Oh my goodness, I love that. I love that. You'll have to send us a picture of the tree. Do you have it still?
I don't.
No.
It's kind of like what I was getting into, like, earlier. Like, I very much was feeling very isolated, like, alienated, like, bullied, ostracized, all that good stuff.
Right.
For my as early as I can remember, and in middle school I started taking some more art classes, and I just got more interested in it, and then more stuff kept happening, so we ended up moving out to another high school, and kind of just like a similar pattern, just people just they project a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't necessarily fit that mold of just like a secure and like confident person. And I guess maybe they saw that or something. I don't know. But it was just kind of like the same thing. Wherever I went, people just like were just like, okay, you're like, I don't know, you know? And I still kept on like being interested in art. At that time, I was actually just making portraits of my friends, or well, people, you know, just people that I cared for. And I went to, so I had a teacher, Miss Beljasic, and she was one of the first ones that was like teaching us Photoshop in high school. And, you know, at the time I was just like, oh, maybe I want to be an art teacher, or maybe I want to be a graphic designer. And then there was a recruiter that came to the school and kind of was just like, you know, cherry picking some people that were like, oh, you don't have to, you know, go to these like universities. You could just, you know, come to our trade school.
Oh yeah,
They'll accept anybody.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
You don't need to be, you know, wealthy. You could just take out a loan.
Oh yeah,
it was,
sharks.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. They, you know, they crumbled. They got a bunch of like lawsuits of like fraud and like all these things, and
Oh my goodness.
yeah. So it was a lot. I was one of first to go to college in my family, so I really didn't have any kind of like guidance to like decide like, oh, you know, what's best for me, or like how can I, you know, go to like the right channels, or like how, you know, whatever.
Well, you clearly did something right, because now you're in this position where you're making art for a living, right? And, you know, as an artist myself, it's really hard to put your art out there and for everybody to see it. And, you know, it's just such a vulnerable experience. I don't know if people really realize how hard that is, especially when you make your creative passion into a business. And then to just constantly be doing that, and some people like it and some people don't, and it's just an emotionally terrifying experience.
Yeah, it really is.
But, you know, you're doing it, and that's, I think, huge. So I wonder, you know, what would you say to a younger version of yourself about, like, you're going to be okay, you know? Like, what advice would you give a younger version of yourself? What did you wish that you knew?
I feel like this question was gonna come up, and I'm just like, what would I say? You know, like my past self, my child self was very resilient, was very strong, to go through a lot of the things that I went through, and you know, I would probably just tell myself to just fuck the haters.
Exactly, I love that. Just fuck the haters.
Fuck the haters. They're not important. They're not gonna, you know, they're not gonna matter. You know, once you realize who you are, the only opinion that matters is yours. And you know, and that's part of like some of the undoing that I've been trying to do. And so I kept on like, you know, I kept on, you know, advocating for myself, and just putting myself out there, putting my graphic design label out there. I feel like graphic design is such a like small like box term for what I really like felt like I could do. And I ended up getting hired before my school like crashed and burned. I ended up getting hired by a design agency, and that's kind of like where I learned, you know, a lot of the trade. And then afterwards, now I'm like linked up with friends of mine who are very close to me, and who I love dearly, and I'm so thankful to be working with them now. Consulting Cuties. Yeah, you heard of it? Oh yeah, I told you. Yeah. Yeah. So they've helped me a lot in terms of like how to navigate that like business world like collectively. Like whenever we have doubts in ourselves, we affirm each other, and we just help each other out in whatever we need support with.
I love that. And I think, you know, for me too, that's been a lot of what community does for me, is it's like a safe space for me to go out and experiment from, you know, which is wonderful as an artist to have that space. But I also really love what you said about your resiliency of your previous self or your past self. Because I think a lot of the time trans people, we get this pressure to kind of demonize the old versions of ourselves, you know, of like, oh, that wasn't really me, or I was so sad, or whatever. And it's like, actually, that person was so dope, like so strong. You have to be cool to be able to go through being a queer kid. You know? So I don't know.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I feel like I agree in a lot of ways, because like I did have a period where I was very much self-hating on myself, like my past self, and just for every thing in me, even like after I came out, a lot of that stuff was still in me, and a lot of that self-hatred was still in me. And so that manifested itself into like internalized transphobia that was kind of like projected onto myself rather than other people. I don't know how to explain it, but
no, I think I get it.
Yeah. So I feel incredibly strong for like having to not only unpack all of that, but also like still keep going, and now have like people that I can do work with and find other contractors and find work to do.
It's a good old time over here in the creative trans, you know, SFLA. Like, I don't really know what they're doing in New York, but I would love to know.
Right, yeah.
Well, you know, I'm thinking about the world, right? We're talking about California. What do you think that the world needs to know about trans people?
In California?
Or just the world at large. Like, California is a very accepting place.
Yeah.
But clearly it's not all California. Yeah.
About California, you know, I feel like there's a little bit of everything, just like in other places. I definitely feel like I hold a lot of privileges from being in a place where I was able to just explore myself in like safe communities and like safe little bubbles, to just not be just to have that, like, you know, like people talk about echo chambers and stuff, and you know, sometimes it can be like an echo chamber of like love and like acceptance and positivity and like being your authentic self.
My old boss used to call it the Bay Area cocoon of power.
I love that. That's actually
and I was
cute.
like, that is really good, because it's true. Sometimes you need that. Yes, okay, we're in an echo chamber, but sometimes you need that.
Yeah.
You know? You know. Yeah, what about the world?
And then in terms of the world, you know, there's obviously a lot of there's a lot of positivity and resilience and resistance to oppressive forces right now. You know, there's a whole ass genocide going on, and that's been really scary to even from like way the fuck over here. It's been really terrifying to know that this can all still, like, you know, it's coming here, like not in a like, oh, it's trying to scare y'all, but like in a like, if they're gonna do that over there, like they obviously don't care about the kids. They don't care about the kids here. They don't care about the trans kids here, and so it's gonna take a lot of work for us to, you know, work together, because we are connected in a lot of places that are colonized or have been colonized. We all share a struggle.
Yeah, actually, we talked a lot about that on the last episode with Lotus Boy, and we talked a lot about, you know, how being trans and hating trans people, we've always been here, and so it's a very colonial idea, right, to be like, there's two genders, like that's just so new in terms of history and just false in terms of biology. But if you're totally right, if that can happen, if what's happening in Palestine can happen in Palestine, if it's happening anywhere, it can happen anywhere.
Exactly.
You know, so it is kind of like it's a scary thing, especially since a lot of the same people who hate Palestine also hate trans people. So
and Jewish people too.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm Jewish, and I'm like, nah. No, let's not in my name. No, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. And not in like not necessarily trying to correlate Zionism and Judaism.
No, of course not.
In a like, you know, people are just anti-Semitic as well in general, and those same people surprisingly also are the ones that are like advocating for genocide. And I was just like, come on now.
Let's all just chill out. Let's just hang out. Let's just let everybody be who they are and have a good time together and let everybody... I don't see why that's such a hard thing.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that... Jessica, also my friend and consulting cutie, they're saying that the peace sign in Palestine, you know, doesn't stand for peace because, you know, you can appear peaceful in like shackles, but it actually stands for victory over there. So victory.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Let's chill out and win.
Victory for Palestine.
Exactly. I love that. That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast and talking a little bit about who you are and what you do. I do have one question for you that I ask everybody. And that is, what is your trans agenda?
I always make that joke with like the trans agenda, the Italian accent. It's a bad joke.
Oh, no, make it. Nobody's done that yet.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, I'm just saying, like, the trans agenda, it sounds like, you know, like an Italian saying transgender, like the trans agenda. But I don't even know if that's like correct, like, or like, you know?
Yeah.
I just, you know.
I love that joke.
My agenda is not peace, but liberation. Liberation. Yeah.
Where can people find you?
You can look us up on consultingcuties.org. We don't really do so much social media. We're trying to move beyond the feed at this point because there's just a lot of censorship, and we have to find ways to also connect in the physical world. So a lot of the work that we've been getting right now is literally just through word of mouth and community.
I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
this is such an honor. I was just like unexpected. So I was like, yes, I'll do it.
Absolutely.
I'm in the area.
Trans individuals face unique challenges every day. From accessing healthcare to navigating legal systems, it is crucial that we work towards creating a society that is inclusive and supportive of people of all gender identities. This means advocating for policies and practices that prioritize the health and well-being of trans individuals, as well as challenging discriminatory attitudes and behaviors where they exist. By coming together to support and uplift trans voices, we can create a brighter and more equitable future for everyone. Thank you for listening, and let us continue to work towards a world where trans individuals can thrive. Follow us on all social media platforms @TransClinique, and don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button.